Kama ni follow wako wana post memes, tutakuja kuangalia. Job Kibeta no, hey, unmute. But we are unmuted. Alright, okay. Job Kiwa sababu, volume, asante Kevin. Good to see you, Kevin. Arusara Bruno tune in. Asante Koipas Empire. Good morning from Alaita, Narrow County. Good to see you. Charles Mongai, Glasgow, Scotland, tuned in. Thank you so much to the guys from Scotland. It's a pleasure to have you this morning. Steve Touch Muigai, tuned in from Kithumu Kandara. Kuna maana ito Kithumu Kandara. Okay.
It's actually the town on the farthest end of Kandara as you are now transitioning to Kigumo. Is it Githumu is in Kandara constituency? Mm-hmm. From Githumu, you will transition into Kigumo constituency in Kangari. Okay. So it is a town before you reach Kangari.
The town before you reach Kangari. Yes. Haya, watu wa Githumu, siko najua mko watu wa Githumu Kandara. Uresi wanatia. Charles Mungai, Glasgow School, good to see you. Asante sana Kivas, good morning from Later County. Charles Mungai, good to see you. Hello Kibet, good morning, good morning. Dennis Cheriot from Deer, watching your live from Kaptagat, Bomdia. From Kaptagat Hotel. I want to Kaptagat, good morning. I hope you're doing well this morning. Always a pleasure to have you on the journey. Please we get to know that you're watching us, and that I like, please share. You give someone else an opportunity to watch the broadcast. Let's also see who is up on YouTube this morning. YouTube guys, Mambo VP. I think there's some guys that working. Good morning to you, my YouTube people. Please ensure that if you have not subscribed to our YouTube channel, please rush there and subscribe. Unaweza lika watu alafu tunajua tunapangana VP. Let's keep this community growing, and let's ensure that we can continue having these conversations. If you have any question as well that you can pick up on, you can please send it to us. Maitafika pia wakati tunafungua bunge la mwananchi ili tuweze kujumuika pamoja. Kibet from DVC sijui ni wapi pale. Daniel Kode, good morning to you. Daniel Kenyan Laban, good morning, and I hope you're doing well. Let's look at the traffic situation on the road this morning. Looking in at Mbagathi Way. Mbagathi Way looks all clean this morning, heading towards the Kenyatta roundabout. Nothing to really worry you about. Looking in at Langata Road this morning, seems to be some little traffic build up, just some sparse traffic around from Sunshine Secondary School heading towards Western Hotel. From Western Hotel looks all clean, nothing to worry about. Mbagathi Way is not clean. I thought Mbagathi Way is good, but Mbagathi Way is really bad this morning. Mbagathi Way, there's traffic all the way from the T-Mall junction heading towards the Kenyatta roundabout. It looks all jammed up this morning. I don't know what's going on that road. Looking in at Ngong Road, a lot of traffic from around Ngong Hills Hotel heading towards the Kenyatta roundabout, but nothing to worry about really. Some traffic right there. So if you can avoid that side, maybe we can use the Agwin Godex heading from Yaya Center looks all clean. So if you can avoid that area of Ngong Road, then better for you. Looking at Ngong Road as well, coming in from Junction, there seems to be some little traffic built up from around Lexo petrol station heading towards the Junction Mall. There's some little traffic there, some build up of traffic. Kingara Road is not looking good at all this morning. Kingara Road is jammed up heading towards Kithanga Exchange. Naivasha Road as well is crazy this morning. Kithanga heading towards Valley Arcade is not looking good at all. Some traffic build up heading towards the Quick Mart supermarket. Looking at Oledume is bad again this morning. If we can avoid that side, the better for you. All right, looking in at coming in from Kileleshwa area, Olengurwane Avenue is not looking good at all. And then also joining in at the Tok roundabout, not looking good. Likoni Road heading towards the Dennis Street roundabout, not looking good. So we can avoid that side as well, the better for you. Looking at James Gishuru is not looking good as well. It's very crazy. All the way from just past the Lavington Green roundabout. Not looking good at all. If you can avoid that side as well, the better for you. Looking at Waiyaki Way, the normal traffic around Westlands, nothing to worry about. Limuru Road, traffic to kawaida, heading towards the Aga Khan. Traffic from Aga Khan Hospital heading towards the inbound into town. Some little traffic heading towards Mushamil as well. Looking in at Thika Road, kama kawaida lazima kushikane. Thika Road imeshikana, lakini sio mbaya sana leo. The traffic is not as heavy as it always is on Thika Road. Traffic, I think there's normal traffic, not really out of place like it always is. Looking at Kiambu Road, there's some traffic build up starting from the DCI heading towards the Modiga Exchange. That's it on the roads this morning. Let me know also how the traffic situation is looking like where you are. Okay. Charles Mungasama, can we please address the construction in Kiambu? What is the construction going on there? The construction guy?
Is the construction of?
Nasema kuna construction, maybe you can ask what it is. But before that, wacha tusikie good morning kwanza ya kijana hapa Erickson Odhiambo. Good morning Erickson.
Good morning viewers.
Good to see you. Salimia wangwana.
P Muchendu, vipi?
Yes. Good morning.
Wenye wako hapo, si.
Okay.
Taklas.
Taklas. Good morning, Taklas. Good to be here to talk about issues relating to the governance of our country. Na tupige siasa msasa. Asante. So, I am ERICKSSON Odhiambo, the current Secretary General of TIRDWAY Alliance Kenya. And we are in the process of trying to bring back Punguza Mizigo Kenya because we still see there's the tax burden of governance in Kenya. And it's not relating to the problems that are really facing the normal mwananchi. So we had initiated it in 2019. In 2019, we presented 16 points to the people of Kenya. We went to the marketplaces. We went everywhere. We managed to get 1.4 million signatures. Okay. Went to IBC. 1.2 were validated. Then we proceeded to the county assemblies as per the law. Unfortunately, at the county assemblies, political expediency took place and people took party positions. And the bill mostly was rejected on technicalities. So it was not, so most of the county assemblies actually never debated the merits and the demerits of the bill. They just leaned towards political convenience. Unlike our competitors, BBI, rest in peace, that actually so many people went to court to file petitions against the bill because it had gone against the Constitution of Kenya. But no actual Kenyan ever rose up to go and oppose the bill. Actually, Kenyans were for the bill, but unfortunately, politicians were not for the bill because of maybe selfish interests. Okay. So we are going back to Kenyans to try and talk to them and make the country great again through constitutional amendments of Punguza Mizigo Kenya.
All right, so in short, you're saying Punguza Mizigo is making its way back. James Waganga on the YouTube. Good morning, we talk tuned in from Kiambu constituency, Salimia Governor Muchendu. Santa Sana Vinue Masha from Qatar. We have missed Professor Piolo on this show. Piolo is coming up soon. So we'll be able to have a conversation together very soon. Let me know who else you've missed that you can bring back on the show. Muchendu, yes. What construction is going on in Kiambu?
There is this road that comes from a place called Gasharage along the Derorwaka Road. It starts from Gasharage, passes all the way through to Gashie Township, all the way back to Karura at the Western Bypass. That road, you remember when we were doing the by-election for Kawanjiko, that was last year. But it was, I think it's last year, yes. You remember the government brought all the machineries in the support of one Kareri Njama, who was the establishment candidate. And they said that within 6 months they are going to do the road. No sooner had they lost, the entire machines were taken and they were taken back to wherever they came from. That road was never constructed. Fast forward to the campaign of this year. And again, while supporting the establishment candidate Damaris, it's called Damaris Kandadash. Again, they brought machines and all the graders and what have you, and they promised that they are making the road. Of course, they were making a show for the purpose of hoodwinking the people of Kiambu into electing the Jubilee candidate. Again, no sooner had they lost, the machineries were taken out of the place. That place is very dusty when it is sunny. It is very Monday when it is raining, like now it is raining in the morning. You can understand, if you pass there, you will understand the predicament of the people of Gashie. And we are calling and we want to request the current government, that they come to the rescue of people of Gashie. I know the Member of Parliament there, Kawanjiko, is doing everything he can. And we are hoping that as soon as the permanent secretaries for the various departments are done, the Department of Transport and Infrastructure will commence the construction of that road. It's very bad because you can imagine, it used to have a tarmac so many years ago. Now there is now worse road than that has tarmac potholes everywhere. You cannot enjoy the ride there. I mean, it's absurd. So I may understand the predicament of the people of Gashie, and we pray that the government will come to their rescue.
Okay. All right. I hope that is what it was, Mungai. I hope that is the issue that you are speaking on. Kenyan Laban, good morning. Felix Kipkoech watching
that
from
is
Nairobi.
James Mungai, eh?
Yeah.
Yes.
From Glasgow.
Yes. I think he's a native of Kiambu and specifically there. So I want to believe that is the subject he's talking about.
All right. We want to believe that as well. Felix Kipkoech watching from Nairobi. Asante sana. You denoted icon. Good morning to you. Steve Touch Mungai. Touch, yes, it is. Yeah, you say that is what it is. That's a problem that he's talking about. Ken Mikoma Rosafi. Good morning. Be talked to you from Deya and doing say I to Governor Muchendu. He's one of the finest brains in Kiambu. Sante. Kumbuko nje ni hatari uko Kiambu.
Ken Mukoma has been an university student leader. He's from a native day award. Comes from a place called Dioni. He's also a very brainy person. He actually contested the UDA nomination in the award, and is one of the young upcoming leaders that we have in Limuru constituency. And it's always glad to engage Ken Mukoma Rohosafi.
Okay. Ken Mukoma Rohosafi. Bro ni safi vile umesema.
He's a very good guy, down to earth and community program oriented person.
Okay, all right. Kevin Somokes Kavita, good morning to you, Kevin. Tuned in, asante sana. Just Mugai, investors from Glasgow. Nasema kuna investors kutoka Glasgow. Haya, ututumie. Sema Jaron Dambuki, ameitwa Charles Mugai. I like this MC. Mushendu, give it up. And please help the boxer. Mushendu nda kubomoa microphones kwa nyumba.
Microphone yako ni kama nani dagia alisenda hapa isumbue.
Okay. That's it this morning. Now, there are a lot of crazy things that have been happening this week. One of the things is Kenya Airways pilot strike, and also we've had different conversations coming up. There was the stories of government cutting funding from public universities. There's also a conversation that started yesterday on extension of presidential term. I don't know what some of you think about. I don't know what you guys think about that proposal. I was saying, if the president is so good, then why is he in a hurry to leave? What do you guys think about it as well? There is the issue of Punguza Mzigo from TIRDWAY Alliance. They're saying, Mwananchi Wanjiku amebeba mzigo sana. The issues on as well on the cost of living has continued to still be a problem, and you also have a problem with drought. We have an issue. Millions of Kenyans are risking death because of drought that is ongoing. Also, the president came God's blessing last week speaking about bandits, and he has said, lazima ikome, amutanilete ujinga. Lazima bandit ikome. Some of the issues that have been going on in the week. Let's start with the state of the nation. ERICKSSON, what do you think is the state of the nation?
I think at least the nation has people breathing and people moving around doing their daily activities. But I need to speak about the 4 million Kenyans facing drought and people and animals dying every day. I think I've seen some activities from the government's end trying to, come to the rescue. But I think there's more that can be done. And I think the priority, you see, my view is like that food security is one of the most important things in any country. And I think it has been shelved below the priorities of government, and some other things have taken center stage. So I think when a brother or a sister in this country goes to sleep hungry, I am not happy at all. Kenyans who are patriotic will not have a good state of mind, and even some of us have contributed to making these people have something on their table for their daily bread. So I think the state of the nation is bad. So the government should come and quickly find mechanisms to cure this. Also on the state of the nation, on industrial strikes. So this KQ, the KQ, Captain Mendo was just here the other day.
Yes.
He spoke at length, but you know, the media is supposed to give information to the public, and the public, even the civil servants, are part of the public. Cabinet is part of the public. So instead of the CS Murkomen coming in and making sure that this situation does not accelerate to where it reached, we saw even them going to court for them to get court orders, and we saw adverts being placed for pilots to be recruited. I think that was a blunder on the part of the of government and on the part of the CEO. I think the CEO is acting on impulse and not making decisions based on objectivity, because industrial strikes have just started. Teachers and maybe doctors will follow, but that's not how to negotiate with the civil service that are giving very essential services to the country. I think that's my 2 cents.
All right. Okay. Muchendu, what is the state of the nation?
Well, first I would like to start by addressing the issue with Fafi MP. The guy who has brought recommended that we change the term of the presidency. I want to start by saying that you have now gotten your 5 minutes of fame. Withdraw that nonsense. This country is facing so much to even think about constitutional change. If you look at the platform under which the president ran his campaign, it was an economic change, not a constitutional change. And I think for me, I would give it to Fafi MP for identifying one area that can make him popular. Out of 300, there are 300 and what MPs in the National Assembly? 460.
Houses, yes.
How many MPs or senators do you know Bitok? Leave alone an MP for Fafi.
We know seasoned ones.
Did you even know the last year who was MP for Fafi?
No, I didn't even know there was
You don't even, there was a Fafi constituency. So, man, give it up for that guy. He identified a loophole under which he just became popular. He was on news yesterday trying to explain what he's saying. And I think for me, that's a good way of carving out a name for yourself. But away from the marketing part of it, that is not a very healthy discussion to even start having as a country on how we will expand the term of the president. I think the drafters of the Constitution, in their wisdom, saw it right that they can give you 2 terms so that you do what you have to do with a limited time, and then you allow the other person to come and try something else. And I want to believe that, and I know I have seen the government, it is not the stand of the president, neither is it the stand of the ruling coalition. This is just a personalized opinion from the Fafi MP. And I want to castigate the mainstream media for whatever reason they are amplifying this as if it came directly from the president. This is not even, it has not even become a motion. It is a pure suggestion by a member of parliament. And if you look at the headlines today, they have actually castigated that as an idea by the sitting government. They are trying to amplify that as if it is the most important thing in the nation. Right now, this country is facing hunger. 4 million Kenyans are going to sleep without food. That should be the quest that these particular media houses ought to look like. Like today, you're looking at the mainstream media has a lot of influence in terms of the people who watch them. What are they doing to to actually appeal to the Kenyans and the rest of the world to come to the rescue of the 4 million Kenyans. So I think it is in bad faith that today's newspapers have amplified that story of extension of presidential term. They are trying to become provocative over nothing. And I think for me, the most important and the most immediate, as my brother has said, it is how do we caution the 4 million Kenyans who are going without food. And I think that majorly that should be it. In terms of the industrial actions that we are having, specifically the Kenya Airways, I want to agree with your sentiment the other day. I mean, is it an idiot who is advising the executive of Kenya Airways? Look at advertising for positions, and as you able put it, the time that it would take to actually hire a competent pilot to a point of starting working, that particular corporation will, in fact, I dare say exactly the exact word you used. They have also declared their own strike because that is not the way to deal with issues. And I will tell you, it is, and I think we have discussed the issue of Kenya Airways here too many times. The issue of Kenya Airways, it is one issue that I do not understand. They have one of the costly tickets in the market. I am made aware to understand that Kenya Airways, as it stands today, only owns 2 aircrafts. Just 2. The rest are leases for different people, cartels who have held Kenya Airways into captivity. And I have never been convinced that Kenya Airways doesn't make profit. Somebody somewhere deliberately ensures that the national carrier is always on the downsiding so that they can continue making money. I mean, if they only own 2 aircraft, and you can see, if you look at the roster of how many destinations they make every day, it will tell you there is about almost 34 to 40 aircraft that have the logo of Kenya Airways. Yes. So there are individuals who have risked craft to Kenya Airways. Why would individuals continue to risk flights to Kenya Airways if it does not make profit? Somebody somewhere is taking Kenyans for a ride. And I think the Kenya Kwanza government, having run on a platform of change, must dissect the real problem with Kenya Airways. They must tell us what exactly is happening. How Kenya Airways was, you remember they owned money to a number of banks. Yes. Who came together in a consortium and converted their loans into equity and ownership in that particular airways. So what is exactly is happening? Because we have been talking about the losses of Kenya Airways from the days of Titus Naikuni, when he was the CEO of Kenya Airways. Coming all the way, we have quite a number of director executive CEOs who have come to that aircraft company. So something somewhere we talk is very wrong. And I'm not convinced that Kenya Airways does not make profit, because they are overbooked. If you have ever tried to look, despite the fact that they have a very costly ticket,
the most expensive tickets.
Most expensive in the market, they are always overbooked. How then do they continue to make profit, to make losses? Somebody somewhere is taking us for a ride. So I think the new CS for Transport and Infrastructure has his work cut out for him to deal with these matters so that we can have, how does a national carrier own 2 aircrafts and the rest of the freight is owned by individuals? Are we still in that state of captivity of national institutions?
State capture.
It's very wrong. Yeah, state capture is still working. And I say this without fear. The former immediate first family is said to have its holding on Kenya Airways. You remember, there was a time that consortium attempted to take over the running of Jomo Kenyatta International Airport at Nairobi, you remember? And that consortium, for whatever reason, it is led by NCBA. And NCBA is a bank that is associated with the former First Family. And they wanted, actually, NCBA, as part of that consortium, wanted to be managing the parking of JKIA. Now, if you look at the Kenya, the Kenya Airport Authority, if you look at the Civil Aviation Authority, these are government parastatals that are doing very well. And you remember somebody in the previous administration had actually suggested and started a process of merging Kenya Airways with Kenya Airport Authority.
But it flopped.
It flopped. Of course, we know they wanted to get into they wanted to, Kenya Airport Authority alone owns over 10,000 acres in Embakasi. They own quite a number of land because they own all the airports in the country. Somebody wanted to merge Kenya Airways and Kenya Airport Authority so that he can get his hands on the cookie jar of what is known as the Kenya Airport Authority. So I think the CS has his work cut out for him. Let us, if we are running aircraft to the national carrier, let us get them from either Airbus or Boeing directly. We do not have individuals who are acting like brokers. You hear the government has the biggest share of the national carrier, but the national carrier only fully owns two aircrafts. That makes sense.
And the question is, isn't it surprising that everyone is worried about KQ making losses than the investors? Because I think the first people should be screaming at the investors, and they are not. Isn't it interesting?
Give me just 1 minute to comment on that, and also on the FAFI. So on KQ, as Muchendu has put it, it's a very well choreographed con game. And we've seen these backroom deals happening in previous administrations. Like you've said, the investors are not complaining. So there's some details that are not open to the public. Same thing that happened with the SGR, the white elephant. Yeah. We have been given tidbits of the contract, but we don't know I saw a comment on Twitter that the real contract is dynamite. It will be mind-blowing for Kenyans. But Kenyans are used to big, flying around numbers. 3 billion is lost for like it's pocket change, and it's not. So on the national carrier, it is. I think the government really needs to come out very clearly on what is the issue and what is happening. On FAFI, on this MP who was talking about extending the term of the presidency, I will tell you for sure. I mean, just like P. Muchendu said very well, I think it was a very good PR stunt. But look even at the framers of the Constitution. They put the term limit because in the previous, after the repeal of the Section 2A, when we went into multi-party state, then people were open to vie for presidency and on a platform of ideas. When the current administration is just less than 100 days into government, and you start politicking for extension of the term of the president, I think it's very insincere, and I think it's a bad political statement to make. On that, let me tie it with Punguza Mizigo Kenya, what we had proposed. Yeah. So in Punguza Mizigo Kenya, we had proposed that the term limit of the presidency to be fixed to 1 term of 7 years. Why did we say this? Because of these things. Because we have noticed that in the presidency, in the successive presidencies, presidential terms, the presidents have, in the last 2 years of the first term, only looked for money to campaign and not for service delivery, for them to be re-elected for the second term. And also, most of the violence that has come in every elections in Kenya, it's because of the power of the incumbency. Because the incumbency wants to be re-elected. In 2002, when there was no incumbency, there was no incumbent president coming in, there was no violence in Kenya. In 2013, when there was no incumbent seeking re-election, there was no violence in Kenya. So I think we need to relook at this, but at this juncture in our country, we should not be talking anything about presidential term limits, but service delivery.
Okay. All right. Let's look at the comments. Aska Mebua, Twali said Uhuru was to stop young Uru was top young, or were too young. I need to know if he was too young to retire. And as the mayor said nothing, went ahead and let him and picked his successor and made him chairman of what would have been the recruiting party if Raila had won. Now Atwali's brother is saying the same thing, and they are shouting horse. What hypocrisy. President Ruto will retire at 65 and will not unpick his successor. Okay? Just Mungai, KQ big letdown, it should be privatized. We buy shares. All right. Okay, I think it's already privatized somehow. Alimuri is watching. We are proud of our son, Governor P. Muchendu. Asante. Afema Jeff tuned in, my friend, Governor Muchendu, great mind. Amen. Asante. Charles Mugai, how can you help your own community when abroad? Yes, you can always help your community. I've been lobbying for health care equipment for Kiambu people in Scotland, but no help with county government of Kiambu. A big letdown. Governor P. Muchendu is very close to the governor. You can take that report.
Where? In Kiambu? You know that's a national government project to begin with. And there's something I have never gotten to understand. That when we elect leaders, very quickly they start pulling each on his own direction. Because when we were going through campaigns in Kiambu, as we were campaigning for His Excellency the President, we also brought together the 12 members of Parliament, the women rep and the senator and the governor, all that were nominated with the UDA ticket. And we would sit down and craft a campaign strategy on which constituency, which ward are we going to be. And we did all that, and we actually got, other than just one seat, that is Gatondo North constituency seat, the entire seats went to UDA. That is the MPs and the women rep, the senator and the governor. And the people of Gashie are equally part of the county government as they are part of the national government. And what ought to have been established is a communique between the area member of parliament, the senator, the women rep, and the governor. Because all these people, the four of them represent that citizen from Kiambu constituency. And they need to sit and look what is it that we can do to mitigate. Because, of course, tarmacking that entire road, Bitok, will not take a day or two. It is a process. But nonetheless, there are mitigation things that can be done. To help the people, number one, we can organize that whoever has been given that contract, because I'm made to believe it is already awarded, should be maintaining that load by using water bores as every other time in the day to ensure the road is not dusty as we continue to do the road. So
when it is raining, how do they dry it?
If it is raining, Bitok, I have seen the contractor that was doing the road in my village had what you call diversions and put some gravels. That is where people would pass as he continues to construct. And therefore, there are mitigation factors that can be done. They can do a diversion at the far end because it's a wide road, and do what is called gravel roads for those people to use, so that it is not muddy for them. Kids are able to go to school. Nonetheless, I will pass that message to the relevant people. And at this juncture, you allow me to congratulate the PS nominee for road transport and infrastructure, Engineer Mbogwa. Engineer Mbogwa has been the Deputy Director General of KERA in Kiambu for quite a number of years, and the roads I keep telling you about in Deya and in Kikuyu and in Limuru constituency, the one that comes from Ruaka all the way to Limuru, those roads, the beautiful roads you see in Kabete constituency, all those roads have been done courtesy of Engineer Mbogwa. And I want to promise the people of Kiambu, as soon as Engineer Mbogwa is cleared by Parliament, I will also play a role in taking this information. It is not our responsibility because we are not elected, but as a humanitarian gesture, I will also beseech Engineer Mbogwa to look at that matter of Kiambu constituency. It has been a matter for 3 years, Bitok. It is not as easy. We may not feel the pinch because some of us are leaving the house and stepping into the highway, but these guys have been suffering for approximately almost 3 years from when the time, because you know what happened is when they started doing this road, the contractor came and started to do other work. So the situation deteriorated from, they would rather have left it with the potholes, because with potholes you can maybe drive slow and get to the point B. Lakini when the contractor amekuja ameguza hiyo barabara na grader, it is something else. So I want to promise them that as soon as the PS is sworn in for transport and infrastructure, I will be in the front line to push for the change agenda on that particular constituency.
Also, Governor, on that, just on that, I think also the contractors that are being given these jobs also need to be vetted, and let it not be based on conveniency that you are close to the member of parliament, ward representative, governor, whichever representative. Because I've seen, actually Kenyans are treated to bad reception with contractors because they're inconvenienced in their daily activities. So when we go down to people who even have businesses along that road, you can imagine the kind of inconvenience they have on their daily livelihoods. So I think also vetting of contractors should be very professional.
Okay. All right. Haya, hata umwambie pia waziri akuje Takula kuja tuambia kuna mpango gani ya barabara.
I will definitely, I don't want to speak on behalf of waziri, the Onesmus Kipchumba, but if I come
PS.
Yes, the PS Engineer Mbogwa, I can tell you, and this is what we are looking for, Bitok. People who can listen to people. People who can actually discuss ideas with the constituents. Engineer Mbogwa, one time, the road that leads to my Kashamba, we requested him to come and see the predicament we are having, because we keep doing gravel roads that end up dilapidating very quickly. So we called that on Engineer Mbogwa as the DG, Deputy Director Kera then. And he came and we did a meeting then, I remember, with the then Member of Parliament, the Honorable Peter Mungai Mwathi, who is the former immediate MP, and Engineer Mbogwa. We came and we did public participation. He told us, we do not have money now, but as soon as we get something somewhere, we will consider and we will give you the first consideration. 7 months later, Bitok, he invited us to his office and we went, and he was now telling us that they have done all the assessment and they are now looking on how they can be able to expedite the matter to the level of now tendering that road. And I think a month from that, we saw the tender for our road come out. And 7 months later, then that was about last year, the constructor called SSMeta was on the ground. As I am talking to you, that road is supposed to be 28 kilometers. They have already covered 17 kilometers, is already tarmacked. And therefore, I think he's one of those guys I think have been nominated on merits, because you can imagine it's a milestone coming from being the Deputy Director, Kera, to moving all the way to become the Permanent Secretary for Transport and Infrastructure. And I want to assure you that as soon as he is cleared and he has taken reign, I will invite him to the TACO so that he can lay out the infrastructural plan for the Kenya Kwanza government.
All right, okay. We shall be waiting. All right. Let's look at the newspapers. Look at the dailies this morning. How the dailies are looking like this morning. We have the dailies ready. Let's look at them. Looking at Taifa Leo. Taifa Leo ataingia klabu ya madikteta. Hiyo ni headline ya Taifa Leo, inasema Ruto yumo katika hatari ya kujichafua akikubali shinikizo la vikaragozi wake kuondoa vipindi vya urais. Vikaragozi.
Agwambia huyo by the way, Bitok, why don't you look for the editor of Taifa Leo to come on the TACO? I mean, I look at Taifa Leo edition. Because I will tell you that guy creates catchy
very catchy headlines,
very catchy headlines. Mbaka, I am telling you before I sleep, because there's a guy in one of WhatsApp inaitwa Team Content who normally shares the headlines of the newspaper before midnight. I always look to see what is it that the Taifa Leo is going to say, because it has a catchy headline.
Haya, vigaragosi.
Ni vijakazi ama ni vikaragosi.
Nasema kubadilisha katiba, pendekezo la mbunge wa UDA kubadilishwa kwa katiba ili kuondoa vipindi viwili vya urais linamwekea mtego Rais Ruto wa kuingia katika orodha ya marais wa Afrika ambao wamekatalia madarakani. Ingawa UDA imejitenga na pendekezo hilo, wadadisi wanasema uwezekano huo upo. Haya, pale juu pia Raila Uhuru wateua jamaa zao Iala, East African Legislative Assembly. Uhuru wateua dada yake Raila bintie kwa wajumbe wa bunge la Afrika Mashariki. Martinelli aitwa kikosi cha Brazil, mshambulizi wa Arsenal kuchezea Brazil katika kombe la dunia Qatar. Haya, hapa pia kuna having some of the presidents Isaias Afwerki 76 Eritrea mamlakani tangu 1993. Mamlakani pale Boldi Abia 89 years ama miaka 89. Cameroon mamlakani tangu mwaka wa 1980.
Huyo wa Cameroon anashikiliwa akienda is being literally anashikiliwa na watu wawili akisimama kuongea. I mean, it is an absurd thing to, I mean, the people of Cameroon should be ashamed of themselves. How do you I mean, when you hit 65 to 70, and I am making that, I am making that known that when Muchendo hits 65 years, you will not see him in the business of active politics. I'll probably become a director or an advisor somewhere as I chill and enjoy the time with my grandkids.
I think this is just convenience, because I think in any democracy, incapacitation is something that is grounds for you to be moved away from active politics.
Yes.
So for someone to be at that age with no energy to lead the country, and a population of educated people who can actually come and rise to the occasion, I think it's just political convenience.
Okay. Hapo kuna pia Paul Kagame miaka 65 6 years Rwanda mamlakani tangu mwaka 2000.
You know Kagame, Bitok. Kagame is one of those people I would gradually refer to benevolent dictator. This guy, as much as he is a dictator,
he's a
his dictatorial tendencies, as they call it, are beneficial to the Republic of Rwanda. How is it? Today, the average age of the Rwanda cabinet is below 30 years. The average age of members of his cabinet. This guy has brought innovative hubs. This guy has today one of the greatest Chinese company, Huawei, is doing its assembling of its mobile gadgets at Kigali in Rwanda. Kigali has become a diary in the inception of, I don't know whether you have ever followed the what do you call it, Youth Connect Summit. Its inception is in Rwanda. It's one of the greatest youth convention in the world. You saw the deputy president representing the country the other way. Yes, Rigiji. Now, if you look at Rwanda, they are saying, the economists are saying, in the next 10 years, if we do not pull our socks, Rwanda economy will be at par with Kenya's economy. Don't forget, this is a country that has come from the 1994 genocide. They have rebuilt and they have overtaken so many countries. I am not advocating for absconding democracy in this republic, but for whatever reason, if and when Kagame decides to step away from power, he would have left Rwanda in a better place than he found it. Now, the question is, can we say the same about Uganda?
No, so, yeah, you see, about Rwanda, it came out of the 94 genocide and rebuilt its economy. The benevolent dictator has been praised around Africa and around the world. But like you have said, when you go to the tendencies and of democracy and the law, I think we should have seen him grooming someone then to come and take over from him. But what we have seen, just to speak on the other side of the coin, what we have seen is that it is leaning towards the kind of leadership that is in China, where now Xi Jinping is a life president. The summit said he doesn't have a term limit and is a life president. You see what that does? It also gives a lot of hopelessness to people who want to rise up to leadership. And I'll tell you about Rwanda, something else that maybe we don't look about Rwanda. If you look around in Kenya, Rwandese don't want to go back to Rwanda. Why? There is zero corruption in government. Service delivery is there, but the economy cannot accommodate them. Our economy is 5 times, even 10 times bigger than Rwanda. Like you have said, Muchendu, maybe in the coming years,
Yes.
But then the government of the day should start building a force beneath it of able, youthful leaders with new ideas, because they'll have new ideas to propel the country to another level.
No, I think one of the best things that has happened to this country, it is the democratic transitions that we normally have. Because as much as we are saying and we believe the economy is not doing as well as it should, this country has opened up on opportunities to grow because of the democratic space that we have created. And I think it will be in bad faith. And I think you're going to have... the MP for Fafi has opened up a very unpleasant discussion on the extension of the limit of term limit of the presidents. And I have an issue with the Third Alliance approach on one term of the president, because Bitoki will give you the presidency, and you know that you will not be coming to defend anything. And likely, there is a likelihood that in their proposal as TIRDWAY Alliance, they are most likely increasing the term of the president, maybe from 5 to 7 or 8 years or whichever years. And Bitok will give you the presidency, and you know you will not be coming to defend, and you will not face the electorate again. You will do all manner of nonsense, because at the end of the day, that first time the Wanjiko elected you, it is the only time there's nothing to lose. So you will, and you know, in any case, anywhere you go in Africa, there is very few presidents go home without scandals or having negative energy coming from the republic. Likelihood in Kenya, the only person who probably went home with a lot of accolades is the Honorable Mwai Kibaki. But still, you know, the dents of 2007.
But even before he left, you were fighting. You were saying you were tired of Kibaki.
So when you elect someone for one term, that they do 7 years and they go home, you are actually absconding the opportunity to hold that person to task. I will tell you, when the Americans met so many years ago in the city of Philadelphia, where they crafted the United States of America, there were proposals that came that presidential term limit would be 10, 15, what. The reason why the Americans settled on 4 years, it is they will give you enough, 4 years would give you enough time if you are genuinely want to change the country to set up a base on your change. And then they will allow you another 4 years if you have set yourself to be successful as a president. It is the very reason they reduced the term limit into 4 years term limit. So I think for me, what we must do, and I tell you the problem, we have put a term limit for the presidency. We have put a term limit for the governor. And the people who are supposed to do oversight, we do not give them a term limit. Someone can be elected an MP for 40, 45 years. I think that is in bad taste. So I think that is the only way I would go against the proposal by TIRDWAY Alliance, that having a president with one term is as risky as having the president we have with 2 terms of 10 years. There is no escaping of risk they are trying to tell us.
We'll get back to that. We'll get back to that discussion. Okay. Let's finish up with the newspapers. Ishmael Omar Guelo, that's Djibouti, mamlakani tangu mwaka wa 1999. Also, Deodro Obiang, 79, Equatorial Guinea, mamlakani tangu 1979. Denis Osu Ngweso, 78, Congo Brazzaville, mamlakani tangu mwaka wa 1979. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, papa, 78, Uganda, mamlakani tangu mwaka 1986. All right. And then on the newspapers, let's look at the Standard. The Standard looking like the Standard storm. The most of these articles speaking about the same thing. The Standard storm, a storm over presidential term limit. A suggestion by a UDA MP to amend the 2-term presidential limit. This is political aid. With leaders missing it as a retrogressive move to a country back to dark days of political repression. But Salah Yakub sticks to his guns. Is this debate to come to parliament? All right, the brief for KQ as court ends for the pilot strike. Koome, yes, graft is rampant in police force. All right, interesting times. Looking in as well at, let's look at the, which newspapers do you have this morning? Let's look at the Daily Nation. Storm overflow to end term limit. My husband couldn't swim. Laments wife of crash pilot at the prison air in Tanzania. Very sad. But I think swimming lessons should be mandatory. I'm pretty sure that the only place that Muchendu would swim is maybe if he's sitting on a basin. So you cannot swim. It should be made mandatory. It's a life-saving.
Be sensitive to the audience out here. You cannot start amplifying a roadside declaration by an MP and make it the headline of national newspapers while other things are really, really fire beneath our feet and bosoms. I think the media should really consider the feelings and emotions of Kenyans before amplifying such messages at such a time.
Okay. All right. You're also telling us about Pongoza Modhigo.
Yes, so and then let me first justify our proposal to cap the term limit of the presidency to 7 years. Now, let's go to the reality. What happens in the first term of the 5 years in all successive administrations? 2 to 3 years, first 2 to 3 years are spent on the president trying to massage the egos and please and appease the and also reward the political cronies. That's what they spend doing. So they will give appointments. They will try to fix them here and there. 2 to 3 years, okay? So there's no service delivery. The political promises and the campaign promises are not met. Second, on the last 2 to 3 years, on the last maybe 2 years of the presidency, now the president is busy looking for money and for ways to get into the second term. So the country has lost out on any service delivery or a political promise or development that should have been there. So also the presidency is very expensive. Yeah, you look at the billions that is spent on the presidency. So when you cap it to a 7-year term, this is what we said, okay? One-term president will make sure that they deliver everything collectively. You put it to 2 terms, then the second term, even they never deliver these promises. The administrations in the second term, again, start finding ways to, like you saw in the last administration. What happened in the last administration? They came up with BBI. That was like, the Big Four agenda was forgotten. So they came up with BBI. So Muchendu, when you want to give someone a country for 10 years to play with it like personal property, yeah, and not bring them to account, I think constitutionally then, us as the people, as Article 1 says, we can move in and give proposals. And also on this presidential term, if you look at Articles 255, 256, and 257, which gives the roadmap to amending anything to do with the presidency, it says it has to go to a referendum. It cannot only go to parliamentary, the parliamentary approval only. Why? Because the people have to have a say in it. So for a few individuals to come up and try and fly around such ideas, I think it's very dangerous even for the political space that we're sitting in right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So what is the difference between 7 years and 10 years? What difference are the 3 years?
So we have given the bulk of 7 years, so that whatever you wanted to do in 10 years, you will do it in 1 term, and you will also save on the wage bill. I mean, the money that is going, the money that remains in the national government, yeah, is a lot of. Then it's a good thing you've said that. So 7 years, you finish and go. 10 years, if you look even what we were saying in Punguza Mizigo, the president remains with all the money and only dispersed 15%. Okay? And as we are proposing, 50% and more. So that what is national? National is for each and every Kenyan in governor's village, in your village, in my village, to have service delivery as per Article 6, to get food, security, education, hospitals, and everything. But this is not happening. It's all being phrased in a political sphere that is not advancing any advantages to the mwananchi. So that's what we are saying. So give someone 1 term, they go. There's no pull and push of incumbency trying to come back to this office. So someone else, like governor here, comes with his ideas, sells his ideas, and other people sell the idea, and the best person wins and takes the country forward. But this thing of giving presidents 2 terms, we give them leeway. First 5 years is just holiday. Give the reward political cronies, look for money for re-election.
I think I would sum the Third Way Alliance bill as just being a populist bill. There is nothing much it is going to change about this country. Talk. One, this is a republic. It's not a federal. Kenya is not a federal republic, where the state, the counties, which are normally known as state government elsewhere, has autonomous on their budgets. And therefore, trying to put 1 term talk, you're just telling me as Muchendu, I mean, the moment I convince Wajiko to give me 1 term, I have 7 years to do all the shit I want and move on. And nobody is going to hold me responsible. In any case, I will not be facing the electorates again. I think you have to look and study why the biggest lot of democracies in the world have a re-election campaign. It is to give you an opportunity to set up your agenda so that if you have shown that you are able to read and you are able to develop the country, Wanjiko will give you another opportunity to come and finish your work. But I am seriously opposed to the idea of having a 1-term presidency. If you have a 1-term presidency, that's 7 years talk, or 8 years of leadership that if today, I can tell you today, there are governors who are being baptized with fire in this country. How many months are we since we went through the election? It will be about 3 months or so. There are governors who are facing fire everywhere. They are being roasted and they are being baptized with fire. Can you imagine when you have someone who you have started falling off with him, and you have to live with that person for 7-8 years? I mean, it will not be beneficial to Wanjiko to have an extended long term that is one term. I think what we will need to do is let them bring other checks and balances that we are able to put these governments to their toes. So my proposal, I would urge them to dump the idea of one-term presidency. Alternatively, let them stagger our election. So that, like in America and other places, we can have what we call midterm elections. So that the people who are supposed to do oversight, the people who are supposed to registrate, and the people who are supposed to represent us are the people who are supposed to keep the government on its toe. And I have always had a problem that we get to send all the people away and the president away during the same time. I think what we need to do, we need to stagger our election and be able to actually have what is called continuity. That if today we can actually decide that we will be holding presidential, member of parliament and women election on one time, and then during midterm we have the governorship, senatorial and county assembly elections, so that we can be able now to put the system on its toes, that there is continuity of policies and what have you. Today, you send people away and you have to go back to zero in terms of policy development.
So that we don't belabor this point, Musheru, we cannot put under the rug the history of ethnic, political, and violent tensions in the country that was brought about by the incumbency. What you're talking about here is the incumbency, not 2 terms only. You see, it's either the sitting president, it's a do or die affair in this country. That all of you know in every election. So it's either a do or die affair of the incumbency or a very, very bitter opposition wanting to bring the incumbency down or away from that seat. So we took in consideration all that and the damages and the repercussions that come with such political tensions, and that's why we proposed that. So we cannot only look at this wholesomely and conveniently for the current situation. You need to go back to history. Why did we do the TGRC? The presidency was mentioned there. Okay, the report is gaining dust somewhere. Why did we do the Kriegler report? What were the recommendations? One of the recommendations of the Kriegler report, so that I just finish on this, was that we have something like an IIBC set up 2 years before election. The commissioners, what happened in these elections that we just finished? The commissioners were placed maybe a month to elections, okay? So the presidency has always been a do or die affair. We need to find a way, the country to move away from this, even the economic, for us not to have all economic implications that will affect the country. So, yeah.
All right, okay. That would be an interesting discussion. I don't know what you Kenyans as well think about that. Should we have one-term limit of the presidency of 7 years and we move it? I think there's an advantage of having, maybe you can have several presidents in a short period. And so you can have different presidents. But then again, there's a danger in this country. You can remember the issues of incumbency. Uhuru Kenyatta was actually retiring. He was going home. But he had a preferred candidate that he campaigned for very actively and vigorously. So as well, how would you be able to,
that is political bad manners in this country.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Now, political bad manners in Kenya clearly cannot be legislated.
This is the whole thing we talk. As I keep saying here, and I will repeat it 100 times, that this country has some of the best registrations the entire continent has. Do you know how much money we spent on TJLC?
Exactly.
Do you know how much money we spent on Dongo Report?
Dongo Land Report.
We have so much registration in this country, very nice and well done. But
there's no goodwill for
you can never, and I repeat here, Bitok, there's one thing you can never do. You cannot registrate common sense. You cannot register the behavior pattern.
Then let's strengthen institutions.
That's what I'm telling you. Putting a term limit, 1 term, changing from 2 term to 1 term, it is not going to solve the problems of this country. I'll tell you what will solve the problems of this country. It is when we streamline our representation. And I told you, today, Kenyans have started complaining. You can go to social media. The governors are being fought everywhere. The members of parliament are being voted everywhere. And I said this before election, we talk on this very table, that do Kenyans know what they really want in a leader? Do they know the kind of person they are going to elect?
So, Governor...
and let me finish. And this is the major problem, that we do not elect. Let me tell you, in this parliament, the 13th parliament, Bitok, we have elected people because they have put tiles in our classes. We have elected people because they have done our fences, or they have made a pathway in a school. But I will tell you, CDF has never been a measure on how you should elect your representative. If you look and invite Kenyans to look at the history of the House of Commons in the UK, you are not elected because you're rich. You are not elected because it is not your business to bring development. It is your business to represent people. And this is where we fail Bitok. People end up electing people. There are people who, I can tell you of 11 members of parliament who are elected back, and in the 12th parliament, they never made a single
contribution.
In
the Hansard, yeah.
In the Hansard. They just went there and thought, tutaweka kabro kwa shule, tutaweka nini. And you know, that is not even the responsibility of an elected member of parliament. Your responsibility in accordance with our supreme document is to represent, it is to registrate and to oversight. Yeah. Those are the canon responsibilities of a member of parliament. And therefore, I think for me, if we want to change this country, we must strengthen institutions that are tasked with oversight, institutions that are tasked with registration and representation. Let Wanjiko know the kind of a member of parliament you require. We must bring back the days of George Nyanja, the days of Paul Muite, the days of Gitobu Imanyara, Anyona, people who are elected in parliament because they could tackle the current government in terms of debating and registrating.
So, Governor, let me just weigh in on this, yeah, so that I can bring into perspective where Punguza Mizigo also comes in, yeah. So right now, I saw in the yesterday that the MPs have put a motion in Parliament where they want the CDF to be increased from the current 2.5% of the national revenue to 5%. Not bearing in mind that the courts have said it's unconstitutional, the CDF should be scrapped. Also, they want to bring in what we call an oversight fund for the Senate. Why are they bringing an oversight fund for the Senate? It is a sweetener so that since the Senate doesn't have veto powers, when this bill comes to Senate, it will be passed. Political convenience. Okay? On what you were saying, why even Punguza Mizigo was saying that we scrap off CDF is because we need to start measuring developments in the 1,450 wards, accelerated development, where people at the ward level, the smallest unit of representation, using a ward fund, will see roads, will walk out of the houses and see roads there, will have clean water, security, and a lot of development will come to them. Look at the Northern Corridor. How does development go there? How does even CDF help the Northern Corridor? People who are dying right now of hunger, okay? No hospitals, no medicines in hospitals. That is what Punguza Mizigo was proposing. Another proposal in Punguza Mizigo was we strengthen devolution and strengthen the Senate to make the Senate the upper house with veto powers. Why? Because some bills, like the VAT Act of 2013, was passed in the county, in the National Assembly, but the Senate, who could not agree with it, had no power, had no veto powers to say that this we are not going to pass. The Revenue Sharing Act of 2018, number 7, which, as per the constitution, is supposed to be passed on recent audited accounts. How was it passed? On previous audited accounts. But the Senate had no veto powers. So as my co-panelists have said, we need to strengthen institutions. Even as we strengthen institutions, I want to also weigh in on this issue about the DPP, who was the other day was in KTN giving an interview and said that he was pushed by the DCI through the media to prosecute some cases. I think he should do the very honorable thing of just resigning, because that office has security of tenure, so he cannot be fired. He has an 8-year security of tenure. In fact, I don't know why he was pushed by the DCI, because the DCI office doesn't have a security of tenure. The office that has security of tenure is the Inspector General, and that's the person who would have pushed the DPP. On another thing, the DPP has mechanisms. If a case has been brought in court, he can go and tell the judge, we brought this case for prosecution, but we have analyzed and seen that we don't have enough evidence, so withdraw it. He never did that. What the DPP has done right now is out of political convenience. Why? Because he has withdrawn the cases. Tomorrow, if Bitok, you take up the office of the DPP, you can again revive the cases because there was no acquittal. You get me? So I think we should really relook at governance issues in this country and start being sober with some decisions.
All right. Okay. Also looking at KQ as issued a statement. The CEO is talking to DIKQ family. Kenya Airways welcomes the decision by the Employment and Labor Code Relations Code directing pilots to resume work immediately by 6 a.m. 9th November 2022. We thank the court for the expeditious ruling allowing KQ to resume its normal operations. We commit to complying with the court's directions. We sincerely apologize to all our passengers and cargo customers for the inconvenience and disruption occasioned by the strike. We assure them that we will do everything possible to return the normalcy in the shortest time. We would also like to thank all our staff who have worked long hours and tirelessly to assist customers over the last 4 days. The hard work and sacrifice has not gone unnoticed. Over the last 4 days, we have lost over 1.2 billion in revenue from cancelled passenger flights and cargo operations. In addition, we have lost another 70 million relating to refunds, accommodation, meals, and transport costs. The strike has also affected other sectors of the Kenyan economy. The horticulture exporters have confirmed that they have been losing at least 45 million shillings daily. The path to recovery will be difficult. It will require the airline to redouble its efforts to restructure, lower costs, increase staff productivity, and recover the time, money, and reputation lost. I'm confident that together we can do it. Thank you again for your sacrifice, support, and commitment to duty. Let us all heal and move forward. Let us all do what? Heal and move forward with confidence as we reclaim our pride. That is
your reaction is as good as mine.
You know, we talk. Can you repeat that part? How much have they lost in 2 days?
7.2 billion.
1.2 billion.
1.2 billion in 2 days.
In revenue. Yes.
Revenue in 2 days.
Then it doesn't make
Can we then look at that is 600 million. If you're losing 1.2 billion in revenue for just a strike of 2 days, it is give and take. You are losing 600 million shillings a day. Yes. And if it's 600 million shillings a day, if we do that by 30, that is 18 billion Kenya shillings, if I'm not mistaken, a month. Yeah, and then somebody has the audacity to tell us that Kenya Airways is not making profit. And if you want my honest advice to the CS Transport and Infrastructure, my honest advice to you, the Honorable Kipchumba Murkomen, privatize Kenya Airways 100%.
Okay, 100%.
100% privatization of the national carrier, so that it can no longer be the burden of the government, because
and the taxpayer.
Yes, whatever. If you look at the statement that the CEO has made, that it is going to take the efforts on who to recover, that is an opportunity they are looking to start asking for funding again from the government. So I think for me, if I was the CS Transport Infrastructure, I would give the entire Kenya Airways to that consortium that converted their loans into equity. Give them so that if they come and they hire a plane from Bitok, nobody is going to come. I mean, it is absurd to even think that it is being referred to as a national carrier. National carrier for who?
It's supposed to be the pride of Kenya.
It is supposed to be the pride of Africa, actually. Yes, yeah. So I think, Kipchumba Murkomen, you can do the honest thing. Take that nonsense to the private sector. Privatize the entire... Because one... it is racktricious for them because already Kenya Airways have so many destinations that they go. They have already so much clearance, they don't need to come and start from scratch. Give it to, you remember, probably increase the percentage ownership of KLM yeah. in the Kenya Airways. Increase, probably introduce or sell the shares to a company like Virgin Atlantic, people who can reform that particular nini. So that we will also as Kenyans, or if that is not the case, Bitok, we have the revitalized Nairobi Stock Exchange. Put those shares at Nairobi Stock Exchange for the public to have. Yes, let us privatize Kenya Airways.
Because if you look at very good brains that have come from very successful backgrounds, like Michael Joseph, Safaricom is one of the most profitable business in the entire of Africa. Going to Kenya Airways, but still, there's no turnaround. Okay, I think it should be fully privatized. And also, you see, the Captain Wenda was here and said something. And yesterday I went to the airport and saw it for myself when I was dropping someone who was traveling. The Kenya Airways customer care desk is not functional. A national carrier, it's true.
It's dead.
Dead. Okay. It is very sad. It's very sad for a country like this to be in this situation.
And you know, something else Bitok doesn't know, maybe he does. It is. We need to look at our passenger transfer, the terminals, our passenger terminals at JKIA. At some point when we have overflooding of guests, we are pitching tents to clear people.
Yeah.
Bitok. In an international airport.
Everywhere.
They mushroom, tents are mushrooming everywhere at JKIA. And that means that, you remember what happened to the green, the green terminal that they wanted to construct?
They are starting up the program again.
So I think what
but the money was disbursed, eh?
Yes, what needs, let me tell you, when I told Bitok up, I remember, I don't know whether we were with Okango here and they laughed, that somebody went to the bank in this republic and took a loan against the title D of JKIA.
Yes.
Somebody went to the bank and was given a loan, and guess the surety of that loan was a title D for JKIA.
And you know what you're saying is layman's language. The reality is a group of people sat down, different stakeholders who have access to this and can get connection inside the bank and said, let's defraud Kenyans. I mean, this public money. That's what they do.
So you're not even sure whether you're not even sure whether the title D for JKIA
is still intact.
Is still intact because there is likelihood that title may have what is called a caveat.
A caveat emptor.
On a loan, yes. There could be. So we are just trying to say the kind of casual way things are being handled in this country. This is an international airport. Actually, JKIA has cut out its name in the African region as one of the busiest hubs. We are competing with Ethiopia, we are competing with Egypt, we are competing with South Africa. But looking at how casually we have handled things, well, Kenya Airport Authority is making some good profit. So kudos to whoever is managing the authority. But basically what we must do, Bitok, we must be able to put these things straight. If something is not working for government, I want to look how much money has government pumped into Mumia's sugar complex. How much money has government pumped into Pan Paper? How much money has government put to Nzoia Sugar? How much money has government put into different corporates like Portland, is it Portland Cement and all those places? If something is not, or if a parastatal is not working for government, this is only one place I agree with IMF, that those institutions, government institutions that are not working, let us privatize them. I want to imagine if Dangote, when he came to this republic looking to build a cement company, what if we give him the East Africa Portland Cement?
For free?
No, not even for free. We privatize. Acquisition. It's an acquisition. He can propel it into a profit making. Today, the Dangote cement is in our shelves. It is costing less than the cement.
Yes, I saw that.
And it is being brought all the way from Ethiopia to this republic.
I'll just juxtapose something just for a minute. So, in 2017,
yes,
when Ekuru was running for president for the first time, in our manifesto in TIRDWAY, we had proposed, we looked at the other economies in the world and how they have become successful and giants in their own rights. And we said, this country has a lot of loopholes here and there. Why can't we create a revolving fund? This revolving fund comes into play when you have things like industrial strikes, famine, hunger. Also, we said we have constitutional commissions, and these people have perks, gratuity, salaries, security, pension, but they should only sit on a need basis. So, like for instance, IBC commissioners, they have a whole team working there, but they still have these perks. Okay, the universities are run by councils that sit on a need only basis. So we said, let these independent commissions have only a maximum of 5 commissioners who will sit on a need only basis with an allowance. We would have saved a lot of money, goes into these revolving funds, reduce parliament, let this money 31.8 billion go to a revolving fund. Then we can even meet the CBAs. That we have not really met for the doctors, nurses, and everything, and we will never be in this situation. So I think we need to really relook how parastatals are run.
All right. Okay. Looking at the comment section, David Ngetich, Governor Muchendu should consider that service is not about a period one is in power, but the quality of issues driven. 7-year terms will be a cost-saving measure as well as guarantee peace. Shale Kitela, tuning in from Survey of Kenya, Sante David Ngetich, Muchendu, don't take offense with populist agendas of TIRDWAY, but consider them and criticize, don't rubbish it. All right. Mr. Muchendu lacks KQ issues are something worth investigating and dealing with. We shouldn't sell of our precious resources just to save quick bucks. Okay, so David Ngetich is of the opinion that we need to retain KQ and continue bailing it out until it makes profit. Just Mungai Muchendu, your people, we are looking. Keep good work and help my MCA boxer. I'm not a boxer. Just Mungai, I will issue the papers. Right, Mas Mahura, well said, Governor Muchendu. They sold KQ parking in Athro. This Mungai Zema parking a loose wire KQ. That's why I'm proud. This KQ
in his role. Okay.
Paul Kipiego, the funding of KQ should come from all stakeholders. Yes, anyway. That's Mugai agree. Privatization is the way forward for KQ. And this is a question that I was asking. Fene Mwangi Jr., well said, Governor Muchendu. Streamlining legislation will be a solution to problems we are facing. Kenya Gilbert, good discussion. Pick up, Governor Muchendu. I like these guys, Paul Kipiego. Aska Mebur, wait until you get a dictator for 7 years. TIRDWAY Alliance, you'll regret the opinion. Right, okay? Governor Muchendu, then us must fully privatize Kenya Airways. We need to start grooming young people for leadership studies. Charles Ambassador Alfred Sajan, good to see you, falling from Perth, Australia. I keep wondering, now, when KQ, when profits are being shared, they're being shared among investors. But when KQ is being bailed out, the investors don't bail it out.
This is the whole thing.
What is the common sense of business? What's the common sense of trade? That we can only share revenue, but we cannot share bailing out. It's always the government bailing out KQ, not the investors.
Because KQ has been fronted as the national carrier. So whenever issues like this come up, the government, they look upon the government because private investors have a lot a lot of clauses in whatever they sign with the government, if I'm not very wrong. So they are protected, their investment is protected.
Yes.
But the public can only be protected by the government, and the government gives in to the pressures of KQ. Yeah. So it is a raw deal for the larger masses, the population of Kenya. It is a stand that I have. We need to fully privatize Kenya Airways for it to regain its former glory. Yeah.
You know, it does not make sense for me that government owns 48.9% of Kenya Airways, and there's a company that it's called the KQ Renders Company Limited that has about 38.1%, and you cannot talk about protection of investment by these companies, and when there is a problem, the people who are seen to look at how to solve the company, because the KQ ownership, the government does not make ultimate decisions. When they have 48.9%,
have a board of directors.
They have a board of directors. That means the board of directors is derived from board of directors appointed by government, director appointed by KLM, the Dutch Airlines, the directors appointed by the KQ Renders Company Limited. These are the people who run the company. So it does not make sense that when the KQ is in trouble, the person who is being looked to solve the issues is the government. How are we not sure that the strike or the problems of that airline have not been instigated by the KQ Renders Limited or KLM for whatever sake? So I think for me, and I will still insist, it is not that we want to privatize our pride, but we are driving an economy that is almost 10 trillion shillings in debt. We are driving an economy that we are trying to resuscitate. And we cannot continue to have parastatals in government that continue to take out air out of government, that continues to strangle the government on its knees and trying to get oxygen out of it. If something is not working, we talk. Let us privatize it. We have invested quite a number of money as government in Kenya Airways. That was not enough. We opened up an opportunity for local investors, local investments like banks to come and lend Kenya Airways money. That again, we are being told that it does not make money. And I want to say, the government continues to be defrauded money by these people when they say it does not make money, because government always comes to the rescue, people pocket the money, because you will not convince me that Bitok has gone to Airbus or has gone to, what do you call it? There is Airbus and there is this other company that makes Boeing. Have gone there. He has leased an aircraft and come and now leased it to Kenya Airways. He has been doing that for 14 years in a company that does not make profit. Somebody somewhere is... because I will look at it at this. As you have said, there is quite a number of well-known CEOs who have gone through Kenya Airways. If you look at Titus Naikuni, he was the CEO of Magadi Soda, doing very well. Yes. He went to KQ, he could not turn it around. You have the former CEO of Safaricom, Michael Joseph, who came and he could not turn around. Quite a number of CEOs who have come there and have not been able to turn around the national carrier. Yeah. Something Bitok is not adding up on the mathematics of the Kenya Airways. It is not adding up. You cannot, look, I want you to look at today, just a moment, indulge me a moment. I want you to look at today. There is rarely a Kenya Airways flight that goes half empty. In fact, I want you today look for a ticket for Kenya Airways. You will find that...
You want to buy me a ticket?
I can buy you. I can buy you one to Dar es Salaam or to... what's the best place to take you? Ethiopia.
Yes.
The Ethiopian one is
I want to go
good.
to Dar es Salaam.
Yeah, you Dar es Salaam. I will organize that for you. But what I am saying, Bitok, is you may likely see that the next available ticket might be a month from now in Kenya Airways. So this national carrier is always overbooked. That is one. Number two, it has the costly ticket anywhere around. Even if you use its Rocco franchise Jumbo to any of the Rocco destinations, they are more costlier than maybe Safari Link or other Rocco companies that do. So they are always overbooked. They have the costly ticket. They have quite a number of aircrafts. But somehow someone convincing us that they continue to make profit. I can tell you, if one of the best paid directors and CEOs in this republic are those of Kenya Airways. Yes. I last time I showed you, I brought you a report here that shows that we even spend up to 800,000 as allowances to the wife of the CEO of Kenya Airways. Yes. So you cannot continue to tell me that there is a national carrier that is making profit, and yet we are paying senior staffs some of the best salaries. Somebody somewhere is taking us for a ride. Somebody somewhere is taking our lunch. Yes, I'm telling you. Like you and said, I agree with him. Let us ask Kipchumba. The only solution to deal with the menace of Kenya Airways
to privatize it.
Privatize it 100%.
You say the math is not mathing.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Finally, it's 2 minutes to 9:30. 2 minutes to 9:30. All right. Finally, 60 days, almost 60 days in power. The presidency, the new presidency, almost 60 days in power. What's your review? The cabinet was laid out, the CS positions were laid out, the PSS have as well have been announced. We are awaiting vetting next week so that the government can also roll. There's been some criticism and also appreciation and accolades on the new government. I don't know, what's your review? What's your review 60 days into power? And also the selection of the CSS and the selection of the PSS. What are your thoughts? And what do you predict in the coming days? So, I'll start with you,
yes,
ERICKSSON.
So I think it's very early, very early for us to give a score to the current government. It was still taking shape. It's still taking shape as we talk. The principal secretaries have been nominated. They have not yet been vetted to be to take up offices. As you know, the principal secretaries are the engines behind running government. They're the technocrats that run government. I saw one thing I can comment is that I saw that the president had promised to make the cabinet 50-50. In the principal secretary slot, I saw he gave women only 11 slots out of 51. We don't know the reasons behind this, politics and everything behind that, but still, too early was to say. On the CSS nomination, I need to put this very clearly that let's not make the vetting process a national circus, because this is a platform for the whole nation to see if these people are fit to run government. There were some of the nominations of the CSS. One of the lady was the committee recommended that she is not fit to hold office. I don't remember the docket very well, but still they went ahead to tourism because she didn't understand the assignment. But still, she was bulldozed into cabinet. So I think, why would we have such a tedious process? Go to the National Assembly, have a committee to vet these people. While at the end of the day, we know that they will be bullied into, if I can use that word, into office. I think the vetting process should be for us to see how fit are they, their credentials, their capabilities, even their IQ of going to perform this duty for the larger people of Kenya. Also, I need to urge the government, they should really, in their days into office, I think maybe roadside declarations that have been made maybe by some of the very, very highest officers in this government, maybe the DP and everything. I think we should move away from that and start working for the people of Kenya.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Muchenda.
Well, I have to say that 3 months is not such a long time to actually expect so many positive things coming from government, because 3 months you want to spend it to restructure and reorganize government to be able to fit into the blueprint that you sold to Kenyans as the president. So I think the Honorable William Ruto is still in that process of restructuring and reorganizing government. However, I must say that I agree with my fellow panelist, Bitok, that those who have already taken possessions in government, that is the CSs and the executive appointments of the presidents, the Economic Council and the advisors and what have you, must start to be seen to execute their mandate. And while doing it, they must be very careful of the utterances that they make. A case study is the utterances by the CS Education Mashogu in relations to the funding of public universities. I think that as much as I agree that we must strengthen our public universities to become serious research centers, because some of the best development you have in the world, Bitok, as a result of well-funded research institutions all over the world. As much as I agree that our universities must become self-dependent, it is not a process that will start immediately. It is a process that needs to have what is called a transition time. I have seen more universities have declared they are now bankrupt. And you are here, you are saying that...
also Egerton University.
Egerton University, the same thing. I mean, it is sad to hear universities that are... Because Moi University and Egerton University are universities that are based on majorly technical training. So it is very sad to hear that them saying that they are broke. So I think the appointed people must be very careful what is it that they say out there. The honeymoon season is over, Bitok. People must start delivering for Wanjiko. And you must, because like right now, it is a shame the minister, the CS for education was forced to retract his statement yesterday. And subsequently, he is making the government look like it is flip-flopping on anything that they are doing. So I think majorly is that we must call government into order. Okay. You cannot have members of parliament who have a responsibility to represent Wanjiko starting dangerous topics like those of changing the term limits of the president. These are people who must be called to order. As I have said, this is a very dangerous discussion of extending the term limits. Why am I saying so? The people who opposed His Excellency the President during the campaigns alluded to the fact that he wanted to become a lifetime president. They were telling people if Ruto becomes president, he is going to extend all. Actually, they were saying he is going to abolish the term limit of the president. And then you have an MP from Fafi coming to feed into that narrative. These are some of the careless things we must say no as a government, because today, the newspapers have refused to focus on the issues that are affecting Kenyans. Almost all the headlines are focused on an issue from a member of parliament from Fafi. And unfortunately, that is the culture of our Kenyan media, Bitok. We are always current. Yesterday, we were talking about KQ. Today, we are talking about changing the presidential term limit. Tomorrow, we will be talking about something else. And what is called oversight is lost in between the transition of non-issues that are there. So therefore, I want to believe that we have the permanent secretaries coming up for grilling by, unlike the CSs, these ones will be grilled by the departmental committees that are where their respective state department are domiciled. And we are hoping this is done quickly, because you realize that the permanent secretary are the what we call the accounting officers of the state departments. They are the engine behind running of those departments. The CSS are what you call policy readers in the departments, so that we can go on. We have quite a number of projects that have stalled Bitok. The James Geshoro Kamandora expansion has stopped and left so many dangerous and unattended barriers all over. We have the Mau Mau roads project stalled. We have the beautification road program for Northern Bypass stalled. We have the, what do you call it, the super highway, this expressway. The expressway left the road underneath it in a dilapidated form. The government apparently give a contract to recarpet those roads. They have been left unattended. If it rains, for instance, in Chiromo, you will take a lot of time because of flooding there. So we want these permanent secretaries to be vetted quickly and to come and resume work so that this nation can continue to grow.
Also, give us your tackle of the day very quickly.
My tackle of the day is to the Kenyan young people. The Kenyan young people went to the polls and elected leaders in the lies that these leaders will change their lives. I was here and I told them
lies.
No, they were lies. I mean, I have said it here and before, and I told you the moment Bitok comes to Moiben and you elect him, he will comfortably relate with the Olkarau member of parliament who is from Jubilee when they meet in town, because that is their class of elected members, and that is how they will relate. And you will be left in the village. That person you could not see eye to eye because he did not support your candidate will remain.
You are killing my political ambitions.
No, I'm not killing your political ambitions. I'm just giving an example that is practical. So I want to speak to the young people. The young people, the only chance you have in this country, it is to join together as young people and try and move your own agenda. People must stop thinking that politicians have a magical way of solving issues in this country. We must not put our hopes in the politics of the day. We must come together as young people and decide how we want to move our, because even the hustler fund that we have been talking about, if as young people you do not plan yourself, that hustler fund will come, it will be given to, you remember the kazi kwa vijana pesa kwa wazee. If you don't plan yourself, kuna wazee watapanga vijana wengine, wakuja wawachukulie pesa wakafanye biashara, na wewe ubaki hapo. So I would want to urge the young people of the day to actually come together and think about themselves without involving the politicians of the day. If it is small money you can bring together to invest on something, please invest on something. And I am saying this having been in the political world. Today, even as we wait, maybe if all happens well, to be getting positions within the government we passionately fought for, we must not sit around and wait for free things to come our way. Okay. We must go out there and start working, and we must go out there and do other things that are building you economically and building the nation. And life goes on. So young people, stop looking at politicians to solve your issues. In fact, I promise you they will not solve your issues. Solve them themselves.
Yeah, as I give my tackle of the day, I want to really commend. I really strained on that fact, being a young person still in the youth bracket during my last campaign. So yeah, young people, please listen to this good advice. So my tackle for the day is a clarion call to the current administration. We have already seen 60 days into office that the administration of the day doesn't have enough money to really do a lot of things, even alleviate hunger from our people. So my tackle will be for the current administration, please consider dropping the executive order number 1 that was made by the previous administration of CAS position. All these perks, security, salaries, and remuneration that was given to these offices, please redirect this money to more important national issues. The president came in with an election promise of following the rule of law. This office of CAS position was declared unconstitutional in the courts of law. I urge the current administration to please follow the law and direct this money to helping other sectors of this country that really need it. Thank you.
Yes, and finally, Bitok, as you wind up, there's a friend of mine who has invited you to go for breakfast or lunch in Kikuyu. His name is Newton. Newton is inviting you to go have lunch or breakfast at Mom's Hotel and Accommodation Kikuyu.
Kuna mburi. Kwanza, you've been promising us mburi for
goja nimalize ni message ya Newton alafu nikwambie, you know you have never come. So he has he took over a business in Kikuyu. He's one of the young people that you have to respect. He has taken that business and converted it into a luxurious hotel with accommodations. And he's asking, Muchendo asked Bitok to come and have breakfast or lunch at Mom's hotel and accommodation on my budget.
Tell him I'll come.
Yes. Yes, just because, and I want to make this clear so that Bitok does not destroy my reputation here. Bitok, and I will mention Bitok, Gerard, your boss, Ekuro Court, Kipchumba, Wakili Kipchumba Karori, who is the other person? There is Ruth Ambogo. There is 2 people I can't remember. I made an invitation here once for them to come and have mbuzi in Limuru. I want Bitok to tell these people at what point has he ever called me to follow up on when they should have that mbuzi. I mean, we are not buying those mbuzis. We are farmers there. We just need to slaughter them.
But you don't say. Have you? Also, I want to take back the question to you. Have you slaughtered the goat and you never?
No. How do you? Let me tell you. How do you slaughter the goat for people who have not confirmed they are coming?
I will accompany my boss.
Yes, you know. We actually had agreed that we will come do mbuzi. And we also plan a trip to Chelbi Desert under the able guidance of your boss. Yes. So Bitok awache vita, aseme anataka kuja na asiwache producer hapa. Aseme anataka kuja kukula mbuzi lini. We will have it ready.
All right. I'm going to do a deworming program of 1 week. And now we'll come to eat and do it. We're having very nice offers also today.
Yeah, please allow me to appreciate a group in Kiambu that is doing a very good work of putting the county government on its toes. There's a group in Kiambu called Otetiwa Kiambu that has been very fundamental in shaping the politics of Kiambu. I want to recognize the efforts of, they are watching, Kina Jimmy Gekwa are watching, some of them are calling here Marcus, Kina Shuja, Kina Wamboi wa Kikuyu V8, and all those people who shape the opinion of Kiambu. Please, yes, V8, V8, and literally it means exactly that. So I want to appreciate them for tuning in today and listening to what we have to offer Kina Fene, and continue watching Bitok. And for those who are asking me whether they can come to the show, I can assure you, if you want to come to the show, this is a platform where you are given to actually discuss matters of national importance. And it is a platform that is given on a free hand. You don't need to bribe anybody to come here.
Thank you. Yes. I think I also want to appreciate the people of Kiambu. Actually, Kiambu people have been one of our biggest supporters. So thank you so much, Newton, as well, for that invitation to come for lunch and breakfast. I'll come. I can assure you I'll come. And also congratulations on your new venture. When a young person makes such ventures, we also appreciate it. Yeah? Appreciate every young person who's trying to do something, build themselves and also build the nation. So Newton, nitakuja. I'm also seeing I have an invitation from Charles Mungai to Glasgow. Nitatembea hii mwaka. Glasgow.
Atupatie invitation. Charles Mungai is from Kiambu. He's a native of Kiambu. And he's doing very well at Glasgow. And if Charles has invited you, Bitok, you better be sure he's very serious.
Hey, Hata niko tayari kuacha itakuwa niachie Muchendu, mimi nahamia Glasgow. Nitumie invitation by ticket I'll be coming. So Muchendu akona deni yangu 2 sasa, ya mbuzi na ya ticket ya Dar es Salaam ya KQ.
Yes.
Yeah, so we are waiting on that. We will keep
I will say this without fear of contradiction. Before the end of this year, you will have a return ticket to Dar es Salaam. KQ return ticket to Dar es Salaam.
Before the end of this year, I'm going to weekend.
You should thank God I am planning to get you that ticket in December.
At least I appreciate that you have a goodwill.
Yes, a goodwill, you know.
60 days into Muchendu's administration.
It doesn't matter where the ticket will come from, but you will have the ticket.
Right.
Yes. Hata mimi niko na unajua, hata mimi I can pay. Friends can pay for me, you know. So at least tukupeleke Dar es Salaam na ukienda huko upige show moja bwana. Si aziende.
Show on the road.
Show on the road. On the road.
Hi, thank you so much, gentlemen, for coming in, and thank you always for always being supporters. To every tackler who is always joining us every morning, we really appreciate you. We don't take you for granted. I don't tell you that we could never be without you. You are the reason that we are. You make us. Well, thank you so much for always making time and watching us. David Ngati, the banks who have the special purpose vehicle against KQ did so that they can bail out KQ. The special purpose vehicle is to bail out, rip their debts from KQ. The investors should be responsible, not government. Mr. Muchendu, that's I think we talked about the issues. Okay. KQ issues are something worth investigating and dealing with. We shouldn't sell our precious. I think we had looked at that. If it is being used as a cash cow by a few individuals day in, day out, then I agree with Governor Muchendu that it should be fully privatized. But that too should be done carefully. It has to come with strict and transparent checks and balances so that it doesn't become an avenue for grabbing public corporations. Governor Ward Oyola, should it be privatized? I suspect is going to win it. Can I guess? Would you? Can I guess? Thank you so much. It's been a pleasure. Until tomorrow, and Diaspora Edition led by Chairman Joel Arama. Please join the Diaspora team tomorrow, led by Chairman Joel Arama. Do get to have a conversation as Diaspora. Just Mongai, join also the Diaspora unit kesho mweze kuzungumza. Until then, this is your Talk, and this is the tackle, and it ends right now. We love you.